forward. Excellent. So welcome to your first class of the Prenatal Yoga series. We're going to start off just by talking a little bit about posture and the importance of making sure that you are in good posture throughout your pregnancy, because it will really set you in good stead when you reach your third trimester. And it's also just make you feel much more comfortable as you move through your pregnancy. So one of the things that is often really tempting to do is, if you're anything like me, to sit on the sofa with one foot tucked under. Now, as soon as you sit with one foot tucked underneath you, you're altering the level of your pelvis. You're putting more pressure on one side of your pelvis, and this can often lead to pelvic girdle pain or to shooting pains, but it also makes it more difficult for your baby to be in a strong position over time. It makes some of your ligaments stretch a bit more going forwards, and it just makes for a more uncomfortable pregnancy. So as much as possible, I know it sounds boring, but I promise you'll find more comfortable ways. Sit with your legs straight out when you're sitting on the sofa or in the car, so that you've not got one foot tucked under, and also resist the temptation to have a leg crossed, because again, that just alters the level of the pelvis. If when you're sitting at work during the day, you're likely to be sitting on a regular chair, you can also substitute that with a birthing ball. My Blue Peter moment. So if you wanted to order a birthing ball, they go according to your height. So if you have a look on Amazon, I use the brand called Trideer. It's not an affiliate link or anything. It's just that's a really good brand. I've had these balls for years and they're really good and strong. So when you first get them, blow them up 50% of capacity. And then over the next couple of days, blow them up to the rest of capacity until they feel comfortable for you. So you want to have a little bit of give in them so they're not rock hard, but you don't want them to be too soft. So once you've got your ball, if you decide to get one, then sitting again, taking your buttocks as far back as feels comfortable and both feet flat down onto the floor. You could have a bit more air in than this one has actually. But what this does is a number of different things. It's really hard to slouch when you're sitting on a birthing ball. You do naturally want to sit more upright, which helps to give you a more stable core, which helps your baby to be in a more comfortable position again. It also helps you to have a little bit of perineal massage, and we'll talk more about that in one of the other sessions going forward. But that just means that you get more of a blood flow, and you help to make everything a bit more stretchy and a bit more comfortable when it comes to actually giving birth. And so when you're here, you're also strengthening your core around the front, around the back. And also you can do lots of little hip circles while you're on the ball. So it just helps you to have a bit more flexibility through the pelvis, through the lower back. And my recommendation would be that if you do get one of these, don't quickly switch from your chair to a ball and then stay on the ball for the entirety. I had one lady who did that last year, and she came back the next day and she's like, my legs really hurt. And I said, what did you do yesterday? I was on my birthing ball for 8 hours at work. I was like, probably too much if you go from one to the other, because it is difficult to just want to sit still. You do naturally want to kind of rotate one way or the other, but it's a really good way for you just to relax and to help your body to be strong and comfortable at the same time. So another couple of things when it comes to helping you reduce the chances of pelvic girdle pain, or to stop making it as painful if you already have it. When you're getting in and out of the car, so this is me in my car, I'll go this way around so that you can see. If you're in the car, it's really tempting to put one leg out of the car and then follow with the other. But what you do at that point is put a strain on your pelvis, because as you go through your pregnancy, the ligaments and everything become softer due to the hormones that are being released. So the best thing to do then is like your Duchess of, oh, everybody's got different titles now, the Queen. Anybody in the royal family, if you're in the car, rather than put one leg out and then the other leg, allow yourself to turn round. So open the car door, turn round, and then put one foot followed by the other, or put both feet out as close together as you can, and then come to standing. And it sounds clumsy, but with a little bit of practice, it does make a really big difference. And likewise, when you go to get out of bed in the morning or put trousers on, it's tempting to swing one leg out and then swing the other leg out. But actually, if you're coming out of bed, swing round, put both feet down onto the floor, even if that means shuffling forward if you have a high bed, both feet down onto the floor, and then come to standing so that you're evenly distributing the weight between both of the legs. It does make a really big difference. And the final thing on that point, you don't have to remember all of this now. We will touch on things throughout the classes going forwards. Another really useful thing to remember is that when you go to sleep at night, particularly as your bump gets bigger, it's much more comfortable to sleep with a pillow between the knees and between the ankles. Because if you watch me just now, if I'm just resting with a pillow between my knees, you can see what happens to my ankles. My ankles are now pulling down, and so that's actually just pulling the hip at a different level. But if I have a pillow between my knees, one big pillow works just as well, and between my ankles, then that allows that top leg to be much more supported, and it doesn't put stress or strain on the leg underneath. So you're pregnant at the perfect time going into winter. It's much nicer to have pillows or cushions between your knees and between your ankles in wintertime than it is in the heat of summer. So perfect timing. But just those little tips do help to make a really big difference in how you feel and your baby's position going forward. So useful things for you to come to. So wherever you are now, come to sitting. If you have a bolster, you can use your bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you can just use cushions. And we're going to come into just a cross-legged position. And if that fills you, ooh, noisy car. If that fills you with horror and you think a cross-legged position is just not possible for me right now, don't worry. You can come to this way around and place the cushions between your buttocks and your heels. Again, this just helps you to keep your spine more upright, and it stops you from feeling like your heels are really digging into the buttocks. So whatever feels comfortable. And if you're wondering why I look like I'm moving in a slightly strange way sometimes, we went on holiday 2 weeks ago and I fell on the way to the airport and smashed all of the skin on both of my knees. So they are still very gently recovering. So it's a bit uncomfortable to put too much pressure on them. So sitting in your comfortable position, whatever that looks like for you, just let your hands rest onto your lap. And then taking your left hand to your heart, your right hand to your baby, and closing your eyes. Allowing yourself just to tune into your breathing. If you haven't done much of this before, or if you haven't done this with your baby before, it might feel a bit odd. That's okay. Just allowing your hands to be really gentle, resting against your belly, resting across your heart. And just noticing your breathing, not trying to do anything with it, just being aware of the pace, the rhythm of your breath. And you can just let your baby know in your mind that this is a special time for the two of you together. Even if you haven't consciously been aware of them kicking or moving yet. Just knowing that for some people that takes a little longer than others. So just allowing the hands to rest. Tuning into the in-breath, into the out-breath. And however you're sitting, allowing the sit bones to relax. Allowing the hands to be really soft and gentle across your body. And just checking in with how you feel personally, just in your own mind. There's a couple of words as to how you feel today. Might even be a sound, just letting yourself know and notice. And then you can set an intention for tonight's class, just to explore, to see what this is all about, to have fun, to bond with your baby. Again, just letting yourself know how you'd like to use your time this evening. And on your next exhalation, just dropping the chin down to the chest. You can give your belly a gentle stroke, a gentle rub, letting your baby know you're right there. And then releasing both hands, leaving the chin down towards the chest. Either keeping the eyes open or closed, whichever feels best. You can inhale once more, taking your head back to the upright. And exhaling, dropping the chin to the chest. Inhaling back to upright. And repeating one more time. And while you're doing that, just letting you know that in prenatal yoga, we don't hold the breath at any point. So if you have finished an exhale before I've said the next inhale, just take that breath whenever you need to. And on your next natural exhale, taking your right ear towards your right shoulder. Inhaling to the center. Exhaling left ear to left shoulder. If there's any little popping or crackling sounds, just allowing those to happen. Inhaling to center. Exhaling to the right. This time extending the fingers of the left hand, pointing down towards the ground. Continuing to breathe in and out. Releasing the hand, taking the right hand to the right cheek and taking the weight of the head as you breathe in, just returning to the center, releasing the right hand. Exhaling, left ear to left shoulder. Extending the fingers and the right arm. Your exhalation, releasing the right arm, taking the left hand to the left cheek, and on your inhalation, just returning to the center, beginning to make a gentle figure of 8 with the nose and the chin. Your figure of 8 in the air might go up and down or sideways. It might be tiny movements, or it might be quite wide. Just noticing what feels right, what feels good for you and your baby. And knowing often in pregnancy, we'll talk about how your baby feels what you feel. And you might think that's bizarre. If I'm angry or if I'm sad or I'm happy, how can my baby possibly feel that? When we talk about feeling what you're feeling, we're not talking about the label of the emotion. We're talking about the physiology. So when you feel angry or stressed or upset, your body releases certain hormones and chemicals into your system. And your baby will also feel those because your baby is part of your system. And so if you've been having a particularly stressful time or a sad time or an angry time or a happy time, your baby is feeling all of those things. But if you are worried that you have been exposing your baby to any of the more negative emotions, then you can let that worry go now, because you can also really help by feeling calm, by feeling relaxed, and sending all of those feel-good hormones and chemicals to your baby. And you're teaching them that just as you might experience one emotion 1 minute, it's perfectly okay to experience different ones a moment later. And coming back to the center whenever you're ready, taking your fingertips up to your shoulders. Inhaling to lift up through the elbows, squeezing between the shoulder blades. Exhaling down. Inhaling forwards and up. Exhaling down. Inhaling forwards and up. Exhaling down. You can inhale and exhale through the nose, but if you'd like to, you can also exhale through the mouth. It's also really good to know that during pregnancy, during labor, the more that you can allow your jaw to relax and your mouth to soften, the more comfortable your pelvis will be. And again, that makes for a more comfortable environment for your baby to be in. It's all connected. So you can let your jaw go a little bit loose. Pop your tongue up behind your front upper teeth. Gently touching, doesn't have to be pressing. Just touching. Allowing any crunching through the shoulders to happen and release. And then we're going to move in the opposite direction. So inhaling back. Exhaling down. Inhaling back. Exhaling down. Inhaling back. Exhaling down. Really allowing your movement to match your breath rather than the other way around. So your breath comes first and your movement follows the breath. And if I'm moving more quickly or more slowly than you, just move at your own pace. It's more important that you feel the full benefits than that you do the same number as me, whether that's less or more. And down, and releasing the hands back down. Once again, the right ear to the right shoulder. Inhaling to center. And exhaling, left ear to left shoulder. And back to the center. Taking the arms out to the side as you inhale all the way up overhead. Turning the palms around to face up the way. Let your shoulders drop back down. So if your shoulders have come up as well, allowing the shoulders to drop back down. And on your exhalation, leaning across towards the right. Breathing in and out. Breathing in to return to center. And as you breathe out, coming across to the left, doing your best to keep the elbow that's closest to your ear in line with your ear. So we're not coming too far forwards. We're not pulling too far back. We're just really enjoying the stretch that's happening all the way up the side body. Inhaling center. Exhaling once more to the right. Inhaling center. Exhaling to the left. And inhaling to the center. Just releasing your hands all the way back down. You might have some heat going on. That's all good. And however you're sitting, you can just move your cushions to the side and stretch your legs out in front of you. And again, this is really useful if you have been sitting on the floor at any point, or if you've been doing your yoga on the floor. It's really useful just to make sure you have a good blood flow the whole way back through the feet before you get up. So just pointing the toes away and then towards you, pointing away and towards you. Again, pointing away and towards you. You can scoop the flesh of the buttocks out to the side. Not often you get to do that. So scooping the flesh out to the side. And if part of you is thinking, Sophia, we're just sitting here, that's also a really good practice, because there will be points during your labor, highly likely there will be points during your labor where it feels like nothing is going on. And so being able to have the patience and the presence to just be there in that environment is really useful. So just taking your feet across to the right. You can have your hands resting down on the floor gently if that feels more comfortable, or on the legs feet to the left. Inhaling to center, to the right. Inhaling to center, to the left. Inhaling back to the center. Then just rotating through the ankles, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. We'll go both ways, so don't worry. You might feel some extra contraction happening through your thighs. All good for making your legs nice and strong, supporting you with any extra baby weights going forwards. And also prams and pushchairs, all those exciting things that happen once your baby is here too. Then rotating in the opposite direction. And then just relaxing through the feet. You can let the legs just wiggle in and out. And we're going to come round into cat's position. So I'm going to turn to face the other way again. It's really useful if you are on a hard surface or on your yoga mat. Even still, it's useful to have a blanket to kneel on or cushion, purely because it takes the pressure off your knees. And for me, it makes my knees much more comfortable at the moment. So you can come onto your knees on your blanket. Let the tops of your feet rest down, and then coming onto the palms of the hands, just as I am. Now, if at any point your wrists feel a little bit uncomfortable, you can drop down onto the forearms, or you can also just make a gentle fist and lean on let your hands take some of your weight in that direction rather than having your hands flat down. So just feeling what feels good. Ideally, you'll have your knees stacked underneath your hips in a nice straight line. And then your wrists, your elbows and your shoulders all in a nice alignment as well. You can have a little bit of a lift underneath the fingers so the hands don't have to be flat down. They can just be a little bit bridged, again, to make this feel more comfortable. And when you're here, and as you progress through your pregnancy, of course, your baby weight will be here. And so you'll feel more and more of that as we go forward. So what's really useful to do is just to engage your core. So imagine that you are with your belly, hugging your baby closer in towards you. And ideally you'll feel a bit more support on your lower back as your core engages. And then you can release through your belly once more. And then imagine hugging your baby in towards you. So you're just lifting up through the belly. And releasing once more. And again, hugging your baby, your belly in towards you. And releasing once more. And then if you're new to cat posture in yoga, then you can just watch me for a moment. So what we're going to do here, we'll always start with that nice core engage and then release. And then beyond that, what we're going to do is breathe in the static position where we are. And as we breathe out, we're imagining that we are tucking the energy at the tailbone under to begin to arch all the way back up through the spine, and your head and your neck drop down. And then we simply breathe in, sending the tailbone away again once more, and returning to the center position. Now, traditionally in yoga, we would then really engage through the core and come into the opposite direction. So we then come this way. We don't do that in prenatal. We just come from the static position in the center into the arch back on the exhalation and returning back to the center. So joining in with me now, if you haven't already, so coming to that center position, making sure your knees are comfortable, your wrists are comfortable. And you can just gaze down towards the floor, breathing in. And as you breathe out, tucking the tailbone and beginning to arch up through the spine, like a ripple from the tailbone all the way up to the back of the neck. And the head and the neck can drop down. And inhaling to send the tailbone away, returning to center. Exhaling whenever you're ready, And allowing the movement to match that exhale. And then the opposite way, returning to center. And so while we're here, we're creating strength in the arms. You can just continue, I'll talk to you as we go. You're creating strength in the arms. You were creating more fluidity, more flexibility in the spine, which of course is wonderful for your central nervous system, for building strength, for optimizing blood flow. And you're also really getting to know how your body moves, all the little bits that go slow, the bits that feel comfortable. And you also have this wonderful hammock shape for your baby as you're here. And that gives your baby the maximum amount of space to be able to move around. Because your belly is loose and comfortable. So if you do nothing else on a day, but come in and do 5 minutes of cat once or twice, or even just once, you are making a difference. If you think, oh, I haven't done anything special today, or I haven't really looked after myself today, even just coming back to this is a really nice way to get your body and your breath back in sync, which helps put any of those worry thoughts out of the way. And you're creating so much stability and fluidity at the same time. And the last one on your exhalation. And coming back to the center. Coming into child's pose, so you can widen the distance between your knees. Tuck let the big toes touch. Send the tailbone back towards your heels. And either stretch your hands out down on the ground and take your forehead down to the floor. Or if that's not comfortable, you can make one fist on top of the other and allow your forehead to rest on the hands, or one hand on top of the other, and allow the forehead to rest. And as your bump gets bigger, and depending on your flexibility through your hips, you can also take a folded cushion or use a yoga block to just rest your forehead down. But really allowing your belly to settle into that space between your knees as much as possible. And relaxing through your shoulders, closing your eyes. And this is a really lovely way to be in a quiet space with your baby, especially when the world is so busy. Again, you're creating that feeling of safety, of security within your own body. And just taking a few moments to breathe calmly. A few moments just to get connected with your own breath, with your own feelings in the body. And to make sure that you don't feel lightheaded, that you can keep your balance whenever you're ready to come up. Just move your hands out to the side if they've been underneath your forehead, and then tuck your chin in and begin to let your weight shift from your lower back. So you can walk your hands back towards you, but unravel back up in such a way that your head and your neck are the last parts to come up. So you're not making any jerky movements, and taking your head and your neck up. And it's not that you need to be extra careful, you know, you're not suddenly patients or invalids or anything like that when you're pregnant. But it's just making sure that you feel comfortable, you feel safe and secure in your body. So it's a really useful way to do that. And when you're ready to come up to standing, just walk your hands forward, tuck your toes under. And let's just rest here for a moment so you can press While you're up on the toes, you can push the heels back a little and feel that stretch in the arch of the feet. Just breathing. It's also really nice just to pause between moving from one thing to another. Just to pause and notice how you are, where you are, what's happening, how you're feeling. And then allow yourself to come up to standing. So you can push your heels down, walk your hands all the way up your legs. And again, your head and your neck. The last thing to come up to standing. Taking a sip of water if you have some handy. And then in prenatal, well, in all yoga, but particularly in prenatal, we like to stand with our feet a little bit wider than hip width apart and with your toes pointing forward. And this just, again, make sure that you are standing in a stable position, that you are more aligned and that your weight is evenly balanced between the feet. So a good way to gauge what hip position is and also how that changes is once you have your feet in what you believe to be hip position, you can just turn one heel to the inside. And if that heel touches the inner arch of the opposite foot, that is hip distance apart. And then during pregnancy, we just go a little bit wider so that you feel more comfortable. So once you're here, bend through the knees. Just let your hands be loose. Unravel back up. Engage through your core. You can imagine that you have just put on some tight jeans. So you can feel your core coming into, your pelvis come into a neutral position. So it's not pushing forwards, it's not pushing or tilting back. Just if you have one hand to the front and one hand to the back, you'll see that we're in a nice neutral position. We're not leaning forwards, which is often you feel the strain on the back of your knees and pushing the belly forwards. And nor are we tilting back where it feels like we're pushing the pelvis like a cowboy, where you've got your hands in your pockets. So just coming to a nice neutral position. And this is really good whether you're standing in a queue, just waiting for the kettle to boil, trying to get away from that dropped hip that is so comfortable to do, so familiar. Just coming back to that upright. And then imagining that you are lifting up through the breastbone. And as you do that, you'll notice that your shoulders naturally roll up and back a little. And then also imagining that we have a string or a cord coming from the very center of the crown of the head. So it would be holding you up like a puppet or like a Christmas tree decoration. So often when we describe the cord coming from the center, people want to stand here, but that would be the cord coming from the forehead. It's really imagining it's in the center, so you're completely upright, but loose at the same time. So if you find that you lock your knees when you're here, just relax. Relax the knees as if you have a tiny micro bend in the knees. And then from here, breathing in. As you breathe out, allow your weight to just come forwards a little. And then rounds to your right hand side. Round the back to the left and forwards. So it doesn't need to be a big circle. It can just be a small circle, just to get used to your weight, get accustomed to all the different receptors on your feet. Which actually, this is a really good way to calm down a nervous system. You often see with little children, toddlers in particular, they can't wait to get their socks and shoes off when they get home. And it is that sense of getting all of those little receptors on the soles of the feet connected back into the earth. So just rotating in that circle. Your hands can be free, your fingers loose. Breathing steadily, just breathing in and out. And the next time your weight is forward at the left, begin to go in the opposite direction, just as though you're unwinding the circle that you've just made. Let a little smile come onto your face so your body knows all is well. And then slowly coming back to the center. Just imagining that you were dropping an anchor down, straight down into the ground. You can really feel that connection, feel rooted with the earth once more. And just notice if your center of gravity has shifted, if you feel a bit more strong and secure in your position. You can take your hands up to your hips, let your shoulders drop down, create a little bit more width through the feet. And again, this is subjective, so find what feels comfortable for you. And then beginning to make a hip circle. Hip circles are a pregnant woman's favorite pastime. So if you find yourself a little bit bored, just waiting for that, our washing machine has a 2-minute delay between finishing and opening the door. So if you find yourself with 2 minutes or a little block of time somewhere, even if you're just waiting for your other half to get out of the bathroom, a little hip circle or two goes a long way. You can also take your hands to your bump if that feels nicer. Really sending your tailbone back. Once you're in labor, movements like this really help to shift the energy around. So sometimes the energy can feel quite intense around your bump. And movements like this help to send lots of the feel-good hormones back into the body and help you to feel more calm, shifting direction again, going the opposite way. And beginning to make a figure of 8 shape with your hips. Now, nearly everybody does a very odd figure of 8 to start with, so don't worry, just beginning to shift into a swaying figure of 8, as small or as wide as feels good to you in your body. Never trying to compete with somebody else, and your yoga won't look the same as my yoga purely because I'm not pregnant, and also I'm about 5'9", so you might find that sometimes my feet look like they're really far apart and yours aren't. It's all just to do with proportion. So don't try to match exactly how my body looks or moves. Just find your comfortable version of that. And then making your figure of 8 go in the opposite direction. And if you have to pause and work out which way is the opposite direction, try. And then if it feels like you're going in exactly the same direction, then reverse. We subconsciously just start to go in one direction or the other. And just slowing that movement down. You can close your eyes. This is also really comforting for your baby. Babies love motion. Often we think our babies will be quiet and calm and go to sleep while we are sitting still or I'm pregnant, but actually they really love the motion. So often they'll go to sleep while you're doing something like this. And then when you're in your relaxation, they often waken up because at that point there's no motion, and as your body is more relaxed, there's more space for them to be able to turn into the kung fu fighters that they so often are. And coming back to the center, just bringing your feet to a little wider than hip distance. I'm just going to have a sip of water. So bringing your feet to a little wider than your hip distance. Again, you can do that just by taking them to where you think is right, and then turning the heel of either foot into the center. If it touches, just go a little bit wider. And then allow your hands to be loose in front of you. You can gently interlace the fingers, not too tight, but just a little interlace. As you breathe in, draw the hands up towards the chin. As you breathe out, bend through the knees, sending the hands back down to where they started. Breathing in, allowing the legs to lengthen as you draw the hands up towards the chin, up towards the throat. Breathing out, gentle bend through the knees. Breathing in, turning the hands, drawing them back up towards the throat. Breathing out, gentle bend through the knees. Breathing in. And out. Breathing in. This time as you breathe out, sending the breath all the way back down, different movement coming next. As you breathe in, send the palms away, facing forwards, stretching all the way up as the hands come overhead, lengthening through the legs. You're getting a full body stretch. And on your exhalation, release through the fingers, allowing the hands to float back down, gentle bend through the knees. Breathing in, up to the throat. Breathing out, gentle bend through the knees, sending the hands down. Breathing in, sending the hands away, beginning to lengthen through the legs. Exhaling, releasing through the hands. Breathing into the throat. Breathing out. You can breathe in and out through the nose or in through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. And out. Breathing in. And out. Last time, breathing in. And out. Breathing in. And out. Same movement to breathe in this time. And as you breathe out, allowing the chin to follow the hands down, send the tailbone back. So you're coming into a gentle tabletop position. And again, just go with what feels comfortable. I'll do this from the side so that you can see more clearly. You can take your hands all the way down to the floor if they naturally reach. If they don't, just come down as far as is comfortable. And then as you breathe in, bend deeply through the knees, press down through the heels, using the deep muscles in the thighs and the buttocks. Inhale all the way up and exhale down. Again, breathing in up to the throat. Breathing out, sending the hands down towards the floor, coming into that tabletop, and then hands coming down more towards the floor. Gentle bend through the knees. Whenever you're ready to inhale, pressing down through the soles of the feet, using the deep muscles of the thighs, the buttocks, the core, rising back up. Exhaling to release through the hands, through the arms. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Whenever you're ready, inhaling up. And exhaling. Same inhalation coming up. And if this isn't comfortable for you, you can just repeat the one we've just done. Otherwise, letting your chin follow your hands, bending through your knees, coming down into a gentle squat. Hands skimming the surface of the floor. As you inhale up, same movement through the legs, pushing down and up. That's it. Exhaling to let the hands flow back down. Inhaling up. Again, coming down into that squat. And one of the private yoga students I worked with actually finds that a squat all the way down towards the ground was easier for her. She had been a professional dancer for years. And so what she did was just come to a kind of squat and hold in the middle. So find what feels good for you. We're building strength through the legs. We're building flexibility. We're building comfort in what some people might define as stressful situation. So finding what's right. And the last squat. And releasing the hands down. Stepping forward with your right foot. Just angling your left foot in such a way that, again, it's comfortable for you, bearing in mind that this is one of these moments where your feet might not be as far apart as mine. So just find what feels good for you and you can adjust as we move through. Bend through the front knee and make sure that your front knee is nicely in line with your ankle. So you don't want to be too far forward. You don't want to be limp at the back. So just making sure that you have a nice, comfortable angle. Mine's probably about here. So yours might not be as wide as that. And then we're still facing forwards. So release the bend in that front knee. Inhale up with the hands to the throat. Exhale down, bend that front knee as you take your hands down to the pelvis. Eye to long, that front leg, inhaling up. And exhaling down. If you need to, adjust your back foot or your front foot. Find your comfortable place. Inhaling up. Exhaling down, bending through that front knee. Inhaling up. And just as in labour, we don't want you to be in positions that are not comfortable, not even for a minute, unless you absolutely have to be, which is rare. So allowing yourself to always make each position as comfortable as you can be. Notice if you're holding tension in your eyebrows, if you're holding tension in your shoulders, and relax wherever possible. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. This time turning your right foot to face forwards and your left, then turning your left foot round and tucking your right. So you're just in the same position, but facing the opposite direction. Again, you can just check the alignment of that front knee and just making sure that you are nice and straight. You might also feel this knee pulling in at some point. It's good for the muscle and for your pelvis also. If you can allow it to come a little bit more to the outside of the leg so that the leg is not pulling to the center line. So interlacing the fingers at the pelvis. Inhaling up. Exhaling down, bending that front knee. Inhaling forward. You can press the heel of the back foot down into the floor at the same time. Exhaling to release through the hands. Inhaling up. Exhaling down, bend through that front leg. Inhaling up. As you're exhaling, releasing the front leg, releasing tension in the back. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. And last time to the side, inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Turning the left foot forwards and the right, walking the feet back to just a little wider than hip width. Again, breathing up and down. Breathing up, sending the arms up and down. Breathing up. If you've done yoga before, you might be familiar with the Ujjayi breath I'm doing just now. It's a slightly deeper breath, sounds a bit like Darth Vader. If you're familiar with it, you can do that too. If not, just ignore it and stick with your regular breathing. I will share that breath with you at some point too, going forwards. So we're just unwinding the sequence, kind of back to where we began. And releasing to the hands, and then simply breathing up to the throat and down, up to the throat and down, up to the throat and down, up to the throat and down. Breathing up to the heart. Left hand to heart, right hand to belly. Just closing the eyes for a moment if that feels stable and secure. If it doesn't, you can just have the eyes open and gaze down towards the floor. Simply noticing the rhythm of your heartbeat. Noticing the rhythm of your breath. Maybe noticing if your baby is moving around or still. Or even if it doesn't really feel like you can feel much going on there, just imagine you're sending love from your hand at your heart all the way down into your baby with the second hand lightly pressing on the abdomen. And you can just let your baby know how much you love them, how much you're looking forward to meeting them. And if either of those things feel difficult for you right now, just letting your baby know that you're thinking of them. You're thinking of them and how life will change when you're a mum, how life will change once they're here. And then releasing your hands back down. Now we're going to come into your comfortable position for final relaxation. I'll spend a little bit longer just setting you up in that tonight so that you know what's the most comfortable for you going forward. So grab a blanket, an extra layer if you need one. A couple of pillows, whatever you have. And an ideal way for you, if you're still at the end of your kind of first trimester, early into the second, you can still really, it's okay for you to be lying on your back, but we tend to prefer for you to lie on your side. Again, so that you can just make yourself as comfortable as possible. You enable your baby to have the maximum blood flow all the way back through the system. And you'll also just find that it's more comfortable for you. So I have the joy of getting the relaxation position as well to show you. So ideally you want to come to lie on your left-hand side. Put one cushion between your ankles, just like before. One between your knees, or one big cushion works just as well. Have a cushion for your head. As you get further into your pregnancy, you might also like to have a cushion underneath your bump or a blanket underneath your bump just to support that weight. And then the magic trick, as always, grab a bit of your blanket and send it as far down as you can so that it covers all of you as comfortably as you can. And then you can take one hand to rest underneath your pillow if you want to, and your second hand can just rest down onto the floor. Or if you want to be really comfortable, allow your second hand just to rest onto another blanket so that it can completely relax and let go. Or you can also place it onto your side it tends to be nice just to have another cushion or something here so that you can allow that top arm to get cozy. Now, if you're doing a relaxation at home and your partner or loved one is there, you can also take something like a bolster or a large cushion and place it behind you so that it's tucked quite firmly into your lower back and your spine. And if you're on your own and you don't have anyone that can really press that up against, or it doesn't feel like you completely get it there yourself, you can also just rest leaning right up against the side of your bed if it's a low bed, or right up against the side of your sofa. Just that feeling that you've got stability and security behind you is really nice. And then you're going to stay exactly where you are. And I'm going to disentangle myself from all of these props. And so with the relaxation, if relaxation is quite new to you, it might take you a little while just to really allow yourself to settle into it. And that's okay. Know that you can adjust yourself as many times as you want to so that you are in the most comfortable position for you. Adjusting yourself, sneezing, coughing, itching your nose, rubbing your eyes, none of those things detract from your relaxation. They actually help you to move even more deeply into it, just by the fact that you are as comfortable as you can be. So allow yourself just to close your eyes whenever you're ready. And if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, just gaze downwards, let your eyelids be soft and relaxed. And in tonight's relaxation, I'm going to invite you to choose a relaxing place, a place that is special to you. It might be somewhere that you've been, it might be somewhere you would like to go, it might just be fantasy land, but a special place is a wonderful technique to be able to have to go to during labor and during pregnancy, so that you can just allow yourself to deeply relax. So just choosing that place in your mind and allowing the eyes to soften. Don't worry about falling asleep. If you do, you do. Just allowing it to happen. And for now, allow your attention to rest on your right foot for a few moments. As you breathe in, feel as though the right foot is expanding and opening. And as you breathe out, feeling the right foot relaxing and softening. Feeling the right ankle, the right calf, the right knee, just in your mind. As you breathe in, feeling it expanding and opening. And as you breathe out, relaxing and softening. Feeling the right thigh, the right hip, the right buttock. Expand and open on the in-breath. And relaxing and softening on your out-breath. Taking your awareness to the left foot. As you breathe in, feeling the left foot expand and open. And in your own time, as you breathe out, the left foot relaxing and softening. Feeling the left ankle, the left calf, the left knee expand and open with the in-breath. Relaxing and softening with the out-breath. Feeling the left thigh, the hip, and the left buttock. Relaxing and opening with the in-breath. Softening, releasing with the out-breath. Now holding your awareness at the sacrum for a few moments, that lower spine. As you breathe in and out, Feel as if that sacral bone is warming and softening. As you feel that warmth, allow it to rise up to the lower spine. With each in-breath, feel as though you're creating a space between each segment of your spine. And as you breathe back out, allowing those spaces to gently close again. Feeling that warmth spread round to the front of the body, to the abdomen, the pelvis, the womb. Feeling your breath gently rocking your baby, just like a lullaby. And if it feels right, or changing the words to say it, letting your baby know you are deeply loved and cherished, safe and secure. You are deeply loved and cherished, safe and secure. Bringing your attention gently back to the breath. Feeling a sense of expansion and opening on each in-breath. A softening and a release on each out-breath. Expansion and opening with the in-breath. A softening and release on the out-breath. Allowing the breath to help the shoulder blades, the breastbone, the tops of the shoulders to release and open. Breathing out, letting everything soften and let go. Sending that gentle awareness to the right hand, the right wrist, the forearm, the upper arm, and the top of your right shoulder. Now taking your awareness to the relaxation and the softening of the left hand, the left wrist, the left forearm, the upper arm, and the top of your left shoulder. Feeling everything relax and soften as you simply follow your breath in and out of the body. Allow your breath to open and soften the jaw muscles, the mouth. Noticing the tip of the nose relaxing. Relaxing your ears. Feeling your closed eyes drop back inside the head. The space between your eyebrows widening and softening. Feeling your hairline relax. And in that deeply relaxed place, we're going to use your imagination to take you to your special place, to your relaxing place. You might find yourself by a loch or a forest, by a stream or a cozy log cabin, making your special place anywhere that's right for you. And this is your place, a place in your imagination, even if it's a memory, so you can make all the adjustments that you need, making it warmer or cooler, changing anyone that's there or nobody there. whether the sun shines or the rain pelts down on the windows, making it just right for you. And begin to notice all of the details of what's around you. As your body rests on the floor, just noticing all of the details of what's around you and allowing yourself to relax more and more deeply. And I'm going to leave you in that special place that you're in now, just following your breath and your awareness. And whenever you're ready, not now, but in a few moments, you can wiggle through your fingers, through your toes, bringing yourself back to the here and now. But for now, just resting in that special place, feeling the softness of the breath and the comfort of the space that you're in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Lots of love. Enjoy your relaxation. Bye bye for now.